My name is Michael Swan. I'm the Global Director of Business Development with HPE Financial Services. And today I'm going to speak to you on how to self-fund your way to an agile business. I suspect if you're turning into this session that you probably recognize that things are changing and progressing transformation at a very rapid pace. And that you're thinking about how do I best set up my organization for success? Well, I'm here to tell you that to succeed in today's market, you're probably going to need to consider taking a different approach and not continuing to do things the same way that you have always done them. In today's market, it's vitally important that enterprises continuously invest in innovation in their products and their services and their business models in order to remain relevant for their customers and to be able to remain competitive in an ever-changing marketplace. Now, we know this is a challenge that nearly every organization faces. And no matter what anyone has done up to this point, this metric of 80% of your IT investment dollars going into keeping the lights on and only 20% available for investing in new things and in innovation, these stats haven't changed, and they're probably not going to change unless there's some dramatically different thinking on multiple levels. You've got to consider the existing state of the business, where does the organization want to go, and then identify specific areas of the business that you want to invest in for innovation and start moving things in that direction. Finding ways to free up capital is difficult even in the best of times. If we look inside the typical data center, what we see is as much as 80% of the installed server capacity is underutilized. And this is according to the National Resources Defense Council. So you imagine all of this IT infrastructure in place, its capacity, it's not being utilized, it's still consuming vast amounts of energy. And the cost there, it represents dollars that could otherwise be spent in more valuable areas of the business. So creating financial vitality can be achieved by freeing up capital in an infrastructure that's already in place, by maximizing the capacity of infrastructure that's already installed so that you can do more with your existing IT budget. Let me illustrate this point with an example of a large insurance company based here in the US. They were in a situation where they were facing rising IT costs. They were looking to reclaim some of their data center space as they wanted to do a refresh of some of their IT infrastructure to be able to support some new business applications that they were looking to implement. Now, of course, they didn't have the budget to do any of this. So the solution that they came up with working with HPE was to transition to an as-a-service model where they could gain the benefits of having more efficient utilization of their IT and being able to pay for their infrastructure as they used it, essentially as a service. Now, to help transition them to that new as-a-service environment, they leveraged asset upcycling services from HPE Financial Services. With asset upcycling services, we're able to help customers meet both their business and their sustainability goals. And we're able to do that by helping them with the disposition of underutilized infrastructure assets and recovering value from those assets that then can be reinvested back into the business. In this case, with this customer, we were able to return economic value sufficient to be able to cover the next 6 months of their GreenLake solution. So the key to creating financial vitality is to consider different ways of doing things. You literally have to stop, hit pause, and ask yourself the question, what can I or what can we do with our existing platform to create the vitality that we need to make the shift in spending from keeping the lights on to shifting to spending more of our IT into projects which are going to transform our business. Let me share with you a few examples of things that can help you shift that 80-20 split to something more like 70-30. The first is to monetize value in your current infrastructure. A lot of companies don't think about this, but there's a lot of value tied up in the IT infrastructure that's already in place in your data center. And you can tap into that as a source of capital that you can then invest in innovation projects or in those things that are going to propel your business forward. The second area to consider is how do you best stabilize the legacy operations that are in place that are running those core business applications and are not yet ready to be retired? Well, one thing you might want to consider is leveraging certified pre-owned technology as a way to be able to bolster those existing systems while keeping a lid on costs. So you can save money when you're using certified pre-owned technology versus buying new equipment. So let me share with you another example, this time with a telecommunications provider located in the Middle East. This is a very successful company. They've been growing at a very rapid pace, which is great, except for that it's put a lot of pressure on their IT systems. And in particular, one of their core applications that manages all the billing and the payments with their customers. Now, this system is running on an HPE mission-critical server infrastructure. Now, the platform is starting to age, but as I said, it's supporting a core business application. It's one that they need to ensure that they're able to continue to run so there's no disruption to their business. Now, they were also constrained from an IT budget perspective and were kind of wrestling with the question of how do I continue to maintain those core systems while at the same time, saving money so that I can invest those dollars elsewhere. Well, in this case, this customer leveraged certified pre-owned equipment as a way to continue to maintain and support future expansion needs of that mission-critical infrastructure, but it saved them money too, because they didn't have to buy new equipment to be able to support that system. They bought used equipment from HPE, which saved a lot of money for them. So what can you do now to get started? We recommend that you start making decisions about how you're going to move your business forward. There are different approaches that you can take that will help you gain more financial flexibility to invest in your business and set you up for success tomorrow. HPE Financial Services can help in a number of ways. So for example, we can help you in the deployment of new technology. We can help you do this in a way that meets your operational requirements, allows you to acquire, stand up, test, and get new technology deployed before you start making payments for it. We will actually time your payments with the value that you're receiving from that new technology. Another example would be thinking about some of the workload applications that you're running to support your business and whether any of those might benefit from a more cloud-like experience. HPE has an offer called GreenLake, which provides that cloud experience, but with the added improvements of increased security and control because it's operating in your own data center environment. And lastly, we also provide tailored investment solutions that can help you invest in trialing new things, whether it be new ways of developing and testing products, new ways of servicing your customers, but allowing you to make those investments in a way that also measures the risk that you're taking on. So as one example of this, we recently worked with a healthcare facility that owns and manages 3 hospitals. They were looking to implement a new Aruba wireless networking environment. And they wanted to do this because they felt that it could help to deliver a better experience for their patients as well as the caregivers that work there. HPE Financial Services recommended an extended deployment solution. With the extended deployment solution, we enabled this healthcare provider to acquire the infrastructure that they needed and to be able to phase in the installation of that infrastructure over time as the patient rooms and the lab rooms and other testing rooms became available. So we provided the funding for this. We also set up their payments to be timed with the deployment of that infrastructure throughout their facility. So the benefit here is that this customer was able to accelerate the deployment of this infrastructure upgrade, and they were also able to deliver on the promise of a better experience for their customers and their patients. So this was a real win-win. The future of your business depends on your ability to continue to invest and innovate to serve the needs of your customers and to be able to respond to an ever-changing marketplace. This will require that you're thinking about new ways of doing things, that you're thinking about new ways of innovating in your products and in your services, how you're servicing the needs of your customers, and how you're getting products, critical products, out to market faster. You need flexibility to be able to do these things. And the risks here, if you don't do it right, can come in a couple of different forms. One scenario could be that you underinvest, that you don't take enough risk, and you find yourself in a situation where this project has gone wildly successful and you've got demand that far outpaces the capacity that you have in place. The downside of this is that you may find yourself having to turn back new customers, or maybe you're not delivering a great experience to the customers that are signing up for this new service. The other risk that you could face is that you've built out this new system to be able to support a new product that you're trialing, and you find that there's little or no demand for this. And in that case, you've got this sunk investment in IT that you can't use in other areas of your business. Now, neither scenario is ideal. What we recommend is doing something along the lines of what we implemented recently for a telecommunications equipment provider located in Europe. They were designing a solution to enable TV providers to deliver a video streaming service to their customers. And it was going to be delivered on a pay-per-use type of model. So they were really concerned about wanting to make sure that the financial model that would support this would allow them to match the costs of delivering the service with the revenues that were going to be coming in. So HPE Financial Services provided them with the funding to set up this infrastructure and test this as an experimental pilot. We also implemented a shared risk structure that allowed them to make the investment, but put a cap on the risk to them. So essentially, we provided them with the ability to be able to return the equipment if the pilot was not successful. But we also had a platform in place that was going to allow them to continue to run the pilot or even expand the pilot if it was really successful. And fortunately for this customer, this pilot worked out really well. And in fact, this platform is still running today, and they're adding more customers every day. Now, we know that not every innovation experiment is a success. For every success, there's at least one, if not multiple failures as well. And that's why it's important that if you're in this space from an IT perspective, that you're going to want to be able to control and maintain your investments as and when the market proves out or not. So where should you begin? Here's a few questions to get you started thinking about opportunities where you can start to put some of these practices into play in your own organization. So as an example, if you think about how the process that you have set up today for managing the disposition of unused or underutilized IT infrastructure, you're probably working with a service provider who manages this on your behalf. Are they also providing you with value in return? They should be. And if they are, then that's value that you could be investing back into your business. Another example might be looking into the systems that are running some of your core business applications. Where those systems might be more legacy type environments, you might want to consider leveraging certified pre-owned equipment instead of buying new as a way for you to be able to save money while still being able to support those core systems. Now, I'd like to close with maybe one more example that brings together multiple elements of what I've shared with you today. In this case, it's a public sector customer located in California that serves the needs and delivers services to the community that they're situated in. The issue that this public sector service provider was dealing with is that their IT infrastructure capacity could not keep pace with the growth. They were constantly finding themselves in a situation where they couldn't support the delivery of services, and they also didn't have the IT investment capacity to be able to support further investments to be able to bolster the services that they could deliver to their customers. So they chose to transition to an as-a-service model with HPE GreenLake, which would give them that future flexibility and also allow them to pay for the capacity as they consumed it. as their clients and their customers demanded additional services. Now, in order to help this customer with their transition to the GreenLake solution, HPE Financial Services bought existing IT infrastructure equipment from that customer. We actually paid them cash for existing equipment that they already owned, and we moved that equipment into the new GreenLake environment. So the customer saw the benefit of getting cash infusion, which they could invest in their business, while at the same time, there was no disruption because we took existing systems that were in place, we kept them on site, and just simply moved them into the new GreenLake environment. We also provided them with additional capacity to meet very near-term requirements that they had. And that additional capacity came in the form of certified pre-owned equipment. So we were able to meet their immediate term needs for additional capacity, but do so at a much lower cost than if they had bought new. So in the same way, we've helped many enterprises convert existing owned IT assets into an incremental cash source while still being able to retain use of those systems. And also utilizing certified pre-owned equipment as a great way to extend the life of existing systems while keeping the expense of adding capacity within their budget. So in closing, I hope that you found this to be an insightful and informative session, and that perhaps you've even picked up a few ideas for how you can create financial vitality to move your business forward faster.